You destroyed our family for some cheap praise and the illusion of being wanted.
They say cheating stories always start with "we were happy." And for David London, it was true. He and Catherine had built what felt like a solid, loving life. They kissed for no reason, said "I love you," and meant it, and dreamed of growing old together. They had twin daughters, Erin and Shelley, now 18 and ready for college. David owned a booming tree service in New England. Catherine, Cat to everyone, worked at a doctor's office. They'd met 20 years ago when David was clearing storm debris and got hit on the head. Searching for help, he walked into a clinic and met Cat. She took charge, had him checked out, and lingered long after she needed to. 2 days later, he brought her flowers. A year later, they were married. 2 years after that, the girls arrived. Cat was reserved, David loud and easygoing. Their differences made them click. He was the kind of guy people liked to hear talk. Deep voice, warm laugh. Even his daughter's friends would hang around just to hear him read aloud. Once, years ago, Cat had whispered over the phone, "I just wanted to hear your voice." He never forgot it. But that memory hurt when things began to fall apart. It started with her phone. One morning, Cat dropped it. The screen cracked, and she cried out like someone had died. David was surprised. She usually brushed off accidents. He figured she was just overwhelmed, maybe hormones or stress about the girls leaving. Trying to help, he offered his own phone. "Take mine today," he said. "I'll get yours fixed." She didn't thank him, just sighed like the whole world annoyed her, including him. In hindsight, the signs were there. She'd grown distant, less affectionate. But they were still close. Just the night before, they'd made love on the couch like teenagers, laughing afterward, flushed and breathless. The next day, after she left for work, David brought her phone to the Apple store. The clerk asked for the passcode. David tried one he thought was right. No luck. He called Cat. She hesitated too long before giving it. While waiting for the repair, he grabbed lunch nearby. Out of habit, he checked her messages. He wasn't snooping, just reaching out. That's when he saw it. A text from Donald. Dr. Donald Wilson, one of her coworkers. The preview read, "You are one hot screw." His heart stopped. He opened the thread. The message came with a video. A phone propped up in what looked like an exam room. Cat on the table, legs apart. Wilson between them. It wasn't forced. She wasn't ashamed. It had been going on for months, right around when she'd started working late. There were more texts, more videos, even audio clips. David couldn't breathe. He left the restaurant, drove home in silence, ignoring her calls. When she walked through the door, furious, asking where he'd been and where her phone was, he didn't say a word. Instead, he called out, "Girls, family meeting." Cat kept shouting. The girls came down, confused. David turned to them. Calmly, he said, "Your mother's been cheating. We're getting a divorce." Cat turned ghost white. Then David picked up the remote and cast the video onto the living room TV. The sounds, the images, everything. Cat collapsed in tears. "Turn it off," she begged. He hit pause. The room went still. Erin's face drained of color. Shelley's eyes narrowed, locking on their mother. Cat tried to speak. "It's not what—" "Oh, please," Erin snapped. "What else could it be?" "You slept with your coworker?" Shelley growled. "Gross." "You ruined everything," Erin added. "I didn't mean—" Cat's voice cracked. "Don't call us honey," Shelley cut in coldly. "You meant it. You planned it." The unspoken word "ho" hovered thick in the air. Both girls turned to David, clinging to him as tears fell. He wrapped them in his arms. Cat stood alone. Shelley snatched the phone, scrolling. 3 months? "Are you kidding me?" Cat's voice wavered. "It was a mistake." "Wrong," Erin fired back. "Forgetting a birthday is a mistake. This took effort. No protection? What if you're pregnant?" That thought hit David like a freight train. "I'm on the—" Cat stopped, realizing too late what she almost said. "You let him finish inside you?" Erin yelled. "Then came home and touched Dad like nothing happened?" David turned pale. Erin's voice dropped to a sharp whisper. "Dad forgives everyone. Maybe you thought he'd forgive this, but this is betrayal." "David, please say something," Cat begged. "What could he say?" Erin answered. "You broke him." "I wouldn't blame him if he never spoke to you again," Shelley added. "I know I won't." "When are you leaving?" Erin asked bluntly. "I'm not," Cat said, straightening. "This is my home too. We're not divorcing. We can work through it." "Work through this?" Shelley exploded. "You think our dad can look at you the same after what you did? You brought that man into our lives." She pointed at the paused video. No protection, no guilt, no chance. David hadn't considered pregnancy until now, and he couldn't stop thinking about it. Kat looked like she wanted to argue, but what could she say? The damage wasn't just to David. It shattered the entire family. Please, David, she whispered. Shelley stepped in. Don't even look at him. He may be proud, but he's still human. You're not going to crawl back into his heart. Not this time. Aaron nodded. Grab your stuff. Go to Gran's. We can't even look at you. Kat turned to her, stunned. Don't you dare laugh, she barked as Shelley smirked. Shelley leaned in, voice like ice. You better hope your little office fling didn't back up to the cloud. That video might be public by morning. Kat gasped, horrified. Get out! Aaron screamed. Tears streamed down Kat's cheeks. She turned to David one last time. You're letting them decide everything. What about us? But David didn't answer. There was no us left. Aaron and Shelley stood beside him, protective and silent. He sat on the couch, the same place where they'd once shared love, and held his daughters close. Kat packed a bag and left. The divorce came quickly. Their lawyer had long ago structured the business to stay protected. Since Kat was listed as a co-owner, the split was clean. They kept equal salaries, no property fight. Retirement accounts stayed intact. David let her keep the house. He planned to rent a small apartment where the girls could stay during breaks. He didn't serve her at work or at her mother's. He left the papers on the kitchen counter. 2 weeks later, the doorbell rang. Aaron answered but walked away immediately. Mother, Shelley said flatly, not rising. Kat's face crumbled as she looked at them. She sat across from David, trying to act like they were still a family. Aaron broke the silence. Why him? Kat frowned. Watch your tone. Shelley laughed darkly. Tone? Really? You cheated with a guy at work and now we need manners? What's next? Screwing the eye doctor too. Is this a group project? Aaron chimed in, deadpan. David? Kat begged. Say something. The girls quieted slightly, waiting for him. I ended it, Kat said softly. It's over. Oh, great, Aaron replied. Does that undo what you did? Got a specialist who can reverse betrayal? Shelley disappeared and returned with the envelope. She dropped it in front of her mother. 90 days. Sign it. Be done. Kat didn't move. I don't want... Aaron slammed her hand on the table. And I didn't want my mom to destroy my dad. Shelley added, you keep the house. We're staying with him. Turn our rooms into whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Kat turned to David once more. Can we talk? Shelley raised a hand. No, you've done enough talking with your body. Now leave. Shelley exchanged a glance with Aaron, sharp, satisfied. Don't talk to your mother like that, Kat snapped. Shelley calmly wiped her mouth. He's silent because if he weren't, he'd scream. I know I want to. Her voice softened, but the blow landed deeper. Do you even realize what you did to us? It's not just the shame. Now we wonder if this is who we'll become. Kat looked stunned. What if I fall for someone like Dad? Aaron asked. What if we get married, have kids? It does. And one day I become you. That fear will never leave. You made us doubt ourselves, Shelley said quietly. Appreciate that, Aaron added bitterly. Kat shook her head. It's not in your blood. How would we know? Aaron shot back. You haven't even explained why. I felt old. Unseen. You girls were leaving and Donald... Don't say his name, Shelley snapped. Aaron jumped in. Save that for when he moves in. Does he have kids? Should we clear out our rooms? I told you it's over, Kat insisted. He just made me feel beautiful. Shelley narrowed her eyes. Dad told you that every day. He kissed you, held you, adored you. He had to. He's my husband. Aaron stared. So, you slept with a coworker because he gave you a compliment? Shelley shook her head. You threw everything away for flattery. Dad meant every word. He loved you. That guy just wanted a quick win. Kat broke down. I know. I'm sorry, David. It won't happen again. It won't, Aaron said coldly. In 3 months, you'll be free to hook up with whoever compliments your shoes. Shelley added, just don't destroy another family while you're at it. Later, Aaron answered a call. Hi, Gran. You're on speaker. Hi, girls, Shelley said. How's she doing? Their grandmother sighed. She barely leaves her room. She's hollow. I know she caused this, but watching her fall apart is hard. Has she talked to him? Shelley asked. Only about work. And I believe her. She's broken. She knows I saw everything and I made it clear. If she lies or sees him again, she's out. But seeing him daily? That's its own punishment. Aaron sighed. Yeah, that can't be easy. At the clinic, Doctor. Wilson entered the room with a professional smile. I'm Dr. Wilson. I know, said the young woman seated on the exam table, cool and confident. He glanced at her intake form. No last name? Not important today. She looked perfectly healthy. He assumed it was a pregnancy consult. So what brings you in? She tilted her head. Tell me, do I have great bosoms? He blinked. Excuse me? Is my body perfect? You know what, tight enough for you? Do you enjoy screwing me? His face dropped. Miss, I'm calling security. She pulled out her phone and played a video, his voice echoing from the speaker. Catherine, your bosoms are so beautiful. He panicked. Where did you get that? From Catherine, she said. She's not here today. I am. Who are you? Her daughter, she snapped. Maybe if you paid more attention to your staff instead of seducing them, you'd know that. His face went pale. Please leave. She slowly unbuttoned one button. Relax, I'm just proving a point. I know your wife's name, Maureen, right? Kids, Mikey, Joey, Rosie, little Saul. Cute. What do you want? She held up her phone. I've got an email ready to send to your wife. I just have to say, Siri, send. Oops, did I send it? He lunged, crushing the phone underfoot. She laughed. Dummy, that was a burner. The real one's backed up. Fear overtook him. Please, don't. How many, Doc? She asked. What? How many women have you used? Flattered into bed when they felt vulnerable? No reply. She looked around. Got a scalpel in here? Wonder if it's sharp enough to fix this little predator problem. He bolted. You've got till Friday, she called. Or that video goes to your wife, your board, your church, your parents, and every local news outlet. Later, Aaron and Shelley stood at the back of David's work shed. He was up front gripping a chainsaw, silent and frozen. This is bad, Aaron whispered. Shelley nodded. He loved her, fully. I hate what she did, but do you think he still loves her? Maybe, Shelley said. But imagine watching that video and feeling everything break in a second. You don't come back from that. He's different now, Aaron murmured. And it's scary. Do we even understand men? I don't think we do, Aaron said. What do we do now? Later that evening, Gran called again, her voice heavy. Girls, your mom's not getting better. I know she needs consequences, but it's hard watching her fade. Aaron paused. We didn't think about what this is doing to you. We've just been focused on making her hurt like she hurt Dad. Is there any chance David might call off the divorce? Gran asked. None, Aaron said. He's proud. And this crossed a line. She says he hasn't spoken to her once. He hasn't, Shelley confirmed. Gran sighed. She still calls him. If he picks up, she hangs up. If it goes to voicemail, she just listens to his voice and cries. She thinks I don't hear. The girls exchanged a look, one of guilt, not triumph. They had wanted justice, maybe revenge, but now all they felt was the emptiness left behind. Later that day, Aaron stood before a group of friends. All right, guys, we need a male perspective. Tommy grinned. Let me guess. The answer is me sleeping with you? Seriously? Aaron groaned. Aren't you on the honor roll? Straight A's, he said smugly. You can be smart and irresistible. She rolled her eyes. That's debatable. Noah chuckled until Shelley swatted his arm. Focus! We're talking no closeness for a month serious here. Tommy straightened instantly. Got it. Full attention. The group gathered in Noah's basement, usually their hangout spot, but today it was a strategy session. Aaron laid it all out. The affair, the emotional fallout, and their dad's dead silence. Then came the big question. Could you ever forgive a cheating girlfriend? Noah paused, then said, Actually, I've been through this. Tommy's jaw dropped. Shelley cheated? Shelley grinned and nailed him in the groin. He groaned and folded. No, Noah sighed. My mom. She had an affair with a guy from her office. A secretary tipped off my dad. But they're still together, Aaron asked. Yeah, but barely. I only know the details because I bugged the house. Cheap mics, Amazon. Respect, Tommy muttered, impressed. My dad didn't yell, he just shut down. Silent, cold. It destroyed my mom. Shelley nodded. That's what our dad did too, and it's brutal. I heard everything, Noah continued. He agreed to counseling, but only on his terms. What I learned? Cheating cuts deeper than anything. Gambling, drinking, they're bad. But closeness with someone else? That's personal, especially for guys. Ego thing? Aaron asked. Partly, but also evolutionary. Guys never really know a kid is theirs. That fear lives deep. A woman cheating hits that nerve. Tommy added, even if he forgives her, the ghost of that guy stays in the bedroom. Every kiss feels fake, Noah said. I heard my dad once say he couldn't touch her without seeing him. Said she felt ruined. But she wasn't a maid, Shelley argued. Why does one guy matter so much? Because betrayal rewrites history, Tommy said. You build trust from scratch. Cheating resets it to zero. Noah nodded. Exactly. Later, their grandmother called with urgency. Emergency alert, she said. Shelley hit speaker. What's going on? Your mom has a date, says the divorce is official. Some guy from work's picking her up Friday night. Perfect, Aaron said. Thanks, Gran. Friday, 6:55 p.m. Shelley and Aaron crouched behind bushes near Gran's porch. A skinny guy with glasses walked up, flowers in hand. Looks like a grad student, Aaron whispered. With terrible timing, Shelley replied. They stepped out, blocking his path. Can we help you? Shelley asked. I have a date. Had, Aaron corrected. Excuse me. We're her daughters, Shelley explained, and we're shutting this down. You can't just... We did, Aaron said flatly. He reached for his phone. Creep, get away from me, Shelley screamed. His face went pale and he bolted. Their mother burst outside. Lenny, wait! The girl stopped her. You're seriously dating again? Aaron asked. I'm allowed to, she argued. Shelley glared. After what you did? Really? Aaron grabbed her arm. How many men have you slept with? Shelley's voice went cold. Total. Not just today. Who raised such disrespectful kids? Their mom snapped. Aaron didn't flinch. You did. Right after Donald had his hands all over you. Did you even get tested? She looked down. Yes. Dad drove hours to get tested somewhere anonymous, Aaron said. To protect your name. Shelley lifted her mother's chin. Want us to get a DNA test? Just to be sure we're his? Their mother looked horrified. You both look like him. Maybe, Shelley shrugged. But you lie, so tell us, how many? Out here? She asked, scanning the quiet street. Yes, now. 4. High school boyfriend. 2 before your father. Then your father. No Donald? Shelley asked, smirking. Her mom flushed. She's about to say it meant nothing, Aaron muttered. That's worse. Exactly, Shelley said. You didn't do it for love. You did it for nothing. And guess what? Aaron added. Mrs. Wilson didn't know either. She knows now. Donald had other flings at work too, Shelley said. You weren't special. Their mom turned to go. Hold on, Shelley said. If Lenny had said all the right things, would you have gone through with it? She didn't answer. Because if you were willing to sleep with him too, Aaron said, there's no fixing this. Fixing, she repeated. Shelley took a breath. Look, we're furious. You wrecked Dad, but maybe there's still a reason to talk. Aaron cut in. But if you so much as look at another man, you're done. No grandkids, no invites, nothing. Deal? Shelley said. Do exactly what we say. Stay clean. Especially your nose, Aaron muttered. Tears welled in their mother's eyes. Touch your dad? And then she broke down. The girls had been surprised to learn their boyfriends actually had solid thoughts about relationships, at least when they weren't distracted by bras. So they returned to Noah's basement, now dubbed the war room. Okay, Aaron began. Mom technically owns the house, but she's still at Gran's. Tommy raised a brow. Wait, are you helping her now? We still hate her, Shelley said. But Dad's spiraling. He might just need to get laid, Noah suggested. Tommy wisely stayed silent under Aaron's glare. I don't trust his choices right now, she said. We don't need some rando as a stepmom. Same goes for Mom, Shelley added. No second round of bad parents. So, better the devil, you know? Noah asked. Exactly, Shelley replied. We've got until fall. Mom's at Gran's. Dad's in a rental, Tommy grinned. I've got a flawless plan. At the clinic, Dr. Ravani glanced up as 2 tall, sharp-eyed girls entered. Yes? She asked. We're here about Dr. Wilson, one said. Are you aware of what he's been doing? I don't know what you're implying. You knew something, the other insisted. I avoid drama. Well, get ready for front page headlines, lawsuits, board inquiries. The sister smiled coldly. They might even ask if you were involved. That's slander. Or a fair assumption, the girl replied. He had a pattern. Are you married? Dr. Ravani's expression darkened. What do you want? The girl handed over a form. We're here as patients. Pneumonia. Treatment on page 2. Dr. Ravani skimmed the forms, signed them, and handed them back. As the girls turned to leave, one paused. If you knew he was sleeping with our mom and kept it from our dad, that's on you too. I don't even know what that means, the doctor muttered, watching them go. Back at Gran's, Erin eyed her phone. Is that the new iPhone? Gran hushed her. Hands off. She lifted the phone and softened her voice. David, it's Lucille. I'm worried. The girls aren't doing well. Panic attacks, sleepless nights. I took them to a doctor. He thinks they need stability, familiar space. Maybe both parents under one roof again, just for the summer. In the background, Erin and Shelley hugged each other, trying not to laugh. No, don't yell, Gran said calmly. This isn't about her, it's about the girls. One summer. Think it over. She hung up and handed Erin the phone. Now you can play with it. I've got to go sell the same story to your mother. Gran? Erin asked, smirking. Did you just lie to both of them? Gran grinned. Was I the one without clothes at Woodstock? No? Then follow my lead. Donald had never been good in bed, just good at pretending he would be. He could talk, sure, compliments, flirtation, well-placed praise, but physically? Clueless. The man had a medical degree and still couldn't find a clitoris. Looking back, Catherine cringed. She'd fallen for the attention. That was all. He made her feel wanted when she felt invisible. The flirting, the compliments. It wasn't clever. It was cheap, but it worked. The first time, it happened late at work. He kissed her, dragged her into an exam room, and had love with her. No care, no build-up, just quick and cold. Somehow, she climaxed. Maybe from the adrenaline. Maybe from shame. The second time was the same. He called it passion. She knew better. He didn't care what she felt. He just wanted access. Eventually, when her body stopped responding, he used lube like she was just a prop. And every time her thoughts drifted to David, the man who actually knew her, loved her, respected her. She should have ended it. Instead, she let it keep happening. Worst of all, she never deleted the videos. Maybe some twisted part of her wanted to be caught. Maybe she thought it would force a conversation, lead to healing. She forgot how David handled pain, not with yelling, with silence. He hadn't spoken a word to her since the day he discovered the truth, and that silence hurt more than any insult ever could. His voice, once a source of comfort, now felt like something lost forever. She hadn't counted on the girls either. Their disgust was sharp and raw, but deep inside, Catherine felt something else. Pride. They defended their father without hesitation. She had raised them to be strong, and now they were strong enough to reject her. She had no one to blame but herself. Gran tapped her teacup at the dining table, signaling the start of their family meeting. She sat at the head, David on her right, Catherine on her left. The girls sat across from them, close, silent, and pale. Gran handed out a printed schedule. These are the summer rules. Catherine gets the master, David, the guest room. Meals are split. I've arranged deliveries for food and cleaning. Catherine glanced at David. He didn't look at her once. This is for the girls, Gran said. They need stability. David nodded. Understood, Lucille. Catherine gave a stiff nod. Girls? Gran asked. They said nothing. Faces drained, eyes rimmed in red, their pain visible. Catherine's heart cracked. What she didn't know was that their look was enhanced. A little makeup, a lot of strategy. Their grief was real, but amplified. And it worked. Catherine saw only heartbreak, her own doing. One last thing, Gran added. No romantic guests. Erin coughed dramatically. Except Tommy and Noah, Gran rolled her eyes. Yes, if any issues come up, they go through me. David nodded. Catherine followed. The girls remained silent, ice cold, perfectly rehearsed. Gran folded her hands. Let's get through this for them. A few weeks in, he found himself taking his lunch break at a job site not far from home. He sat inside Truck 1, the very first vehicle he bought when he started the company. It was old, dusty, dented, and cluttered with tools, but it still felt more like home than any place else. The passenger door creaked open and David assumed it was one of the crew until he turned and saw Lucille climbing in. Petite like her daughter, still mostly blonde with streaks of gray she didn't bother to hide, she slid into the seat effortlessly. David caught a glimpse of her pale thigh as she swung in and, oddly, remembered Ben Franklin's infamous quote about older women being plump where it counts. Lucille had always been an attractive woman. There was a time David imagined growing old with someone like her, kind, warm, and deeply supportive. But that version of his life had been obliterated long ago. She handed him a paper bag. Chicken salad, your favorite potato salad, and Dr. Brown's black cherry soda. You don't eat well when you're stressed. She wasn't wrong. David opened the bag with genuine gratitude. How are you holding up? She asked softly. He chewed a bite of food, then swallowed. At first, I thought all this therapy stuff was ridiculous. Where did they even find that doctor? The girls picked her, Lucille said. They thought their regular doctor didn't get them. This woman, she has experience. David nodded thoughtfully. Whoever she is, she seems to be helping. The girls already look better. Lucille offered a small smile. At this rate, they'll be back to their old selves before college. And I'll finally be out of that house. Is it really that hard? Being there with Catherine? David stared down into his potato salad. Yeah, it is. I loved her for so long. That kind of feeling doesn't just vanish. I look at her and remember all the good years. And then those videos come back. I can't unsee them. Lucille didn't reply. I still dream about her, he admitted quietly. Dreams where we're in bed and everything feels normal, real. I wake up feeling happy until I remember what she did, the betrayal, and then I feel sick. But I still have to come downstairs and act fine for the girls. She was quiet for a long time. Then he finally asked the question that had been gnawing at him. The girls said something about this being in Kat's DNA. Do you think that's possible? Did Howard ever cheat on you? Lucille raised an eyebrow. Or are you asking if I ever cheated on him? David gave a sheepish nod. No, David, she said gently. Sure, we were wild in the 60s, free love and all that. But once we were married, it was just us. I don't know why some people stray. People are complicated. They make mistakes. But Howard and I always tried to protect what mattered most. Later that day, David was finishing up an estimate for a job when the homeowner, Noah's father, Mitch, invited him inside for a beer. David nearly declined, but something in Mitch's tone made him stay. To love, Mitch said, raising his bottle. David thought bitterly. To hell with love. They sat in the quiet living room, tension lingering. Let me tell you something, Mitch began. About me. David was tempted to leave, but Mitch stopped him. This isn't about you. Just listen. So David stayed. 2 years ago, Rose cheated. Someone at her office tipped me off. She was sleeping with a coworker inside empty houses the agency was listing. I checked out one of the addresses and found her car. Walked right in. Caught them mid-act. He shook his head slowly. If I'd had a tool that day, I might not be here now. David remained silent. She came home crying, begging. Said it was meaningless. She still loved me and the kids. You know, the usual. Mitch took a sip of his beer. I told her it was over. That whatever we had was gone. But she didn't back down. Said she wanted to fix it. Said she'd do anything. I told her I didn't care why she did it. I didn't want excuses. David leaned forward slightly. But how do you get past the image? Knowing someone else was inside her? Mitch nodded grimly. That's the hardest part. I needed something, anything, to even consider moving forward. So I gave her a list of conditions, non-negotiable. What kind of conditions? David asked. 1, no contact with the guy. 2, quit her job immediately. 3, tell his wife everything. 4, write out the full timeline, when, where, how, and 5, give me full access to her phone, email, everything. And she agreed. She did. Through tears and everything. Maybe it was guilt, maybe fear, maybe love, I don't know. But she did it, and slowly, very slowly, we began to rebuild. David stared at his empty bottle, lost in thought. One part of him thought Mitch was out of his mind. The other part wasn't so sure. Wow, he muttered. Mitch nodded. I figured she'd say no, would have made it easier. But she did everything I asked, without hesitation. I made her sleep in the guest room for 2 months. We went to therapy, talked every night. Every day I asked her, do we still have a deal? Eventually, I let her back in my bed and started my own healing. He gestured toward the hallway. You should have read what she wrote. Every detail of the affair. It made me sick, but it was useful. We went through it together, line by line. David shifted uncomfortably. You sure you want to be telling me this? Only if you're strong enough to hear it. David nodded. First thing I asked her, did he go there? Mitch raised his eyebrows. She said no, so that night I did. We'd never done that before. Not like that. But I figured if there were parts of her he hadn't touched, I was going to take them back. All of them. David turned away, his skin suddenly hot. No shame, man, Mitch continued. We explored everything. He was never dominant, so I got rough. Tied her up, spanked her. She loved it. Still does. We've done it on the porch. Sometimes I yell, whose body is this? Just to hear her scream that it's mine. David stared at his beer, praying for the conversation to end. Mitch handed him another bottle. Bottom line? That old version of our marriage? Dead. I built a new one. My way. I stopped worrying about her pleasure. It was about reclaiming what was mine. And you know what? She came crawling back, desperate for it. Maybe that makes me cruel, but you should see her now. David stood up slowly. I think I've heard enough. We're like the Scooby Gang, but for love scandals, Tommy declared proudly. We haven't solved anything yet, Shelley muttered. Sorry, Gran. Lucille, midway through slicing a loaf of banana bread, paused. What are you sorry for, dear? For swearing. She set the knife down and smiled. Sweetie, I've heard worse at a rock show. I once jumped into a mosh pit during a human response set at the Rat. Great band. Gran walked over to the bookshelf, pulled out a thick photo album labeled Visions of Woodstock, and flipped it open. She laid the page on the table. There, in full color, was a young blonde woman dancing without clothes in the middle of a crowd. Her hair covered most of her chest, but not all of it. Her body was toned, luminous, and radiant with joy. For a long second, no one said anything. Holy crap, Shelley whispered. Gran? Aaron choked out. That's right, Lucille said calmly. So feel free to speak your minds. I've lived it. The boys looked away stunned. Noah turned bright red. Tommy looked like his brain had shut down completely. Since you've seen the goods, you can call me Lucille or Lucy, not Gran, and don't even think about taking a picture. I was 15. You do not want that on your phone. She slid the book back on the shelf and resumed slicing. Noah recovered first. So, I asked my dad to talk to Mr. London about how to, reclaim a wandering spouse. Lucille grinned. Smart boy. Did you hear everything? Yeah, too much, honestly. He played a recording on his phone. Shelley and Aaron sat frozen as Mitch's voice described everything in horrifying detail. You're picturing Mom, aren't you? Shelley asked. Yeah, Aaron replied weakly. Oh, God. Tommy, still chewing banana bread, mumbled something. What? Aaron snapped. Swallow and try again, he gulped. It's like a factory reset. You know, when your router gets scrambled, you push a little paperclip into the reset hole, wipes everything and starts fresh. You want to reset Mom? Shelley asked. Aaron smirked. What, poke her belly button and hope it deletes her cheating? Tommy chuckled. Something like that. Just not literally. The woman waxing her seemed Vietnamese, which made Catherine wonder if she was even qualified for what was about to happen. This Brazilian nightmare had been forced on her. She wasn't alone. Aaron held her left hand, Shelley her right. It looked like support, but Catherine knew better. If she resisted, they'd pin her down without hesitation. She wore only a t-shirt. Lying on that crinkly, paper-covered table reminded her too much of the clinic's exam tables. She fought the memories. The wax technician gently rubbed warm oil on her. It felt surprisingly good. Catherine closed her eyes and foolishly imagined David doing it. The thought gutted her. She couldn't stop sabotaging herself with memories of what she had lost, what she had thrown away. Catherine had tried to explain it to herself in every possible way. Hormones, brain fog, maybe something medical. Maybe something inside her had simply broken, transforming her into a needy, reckless woman chasing validation from a mediocre man. Or maybe that version of her had always existed, lurking beneath the surface. That thought hit harder than any slap. What if the cheater wasn't a mistake, but the real me? She tried to sit up, but the wax technician slapped another strip of hot wax across her skin and yanked. Catherine yelped. Breathe, Mom, Aaron said dryly. It burns. Ow! Another strip came off with a snap. Shelley leaned in with a wicked grin. We still hate you, just so you know. But hey, people pay for this, so chin up. Lucy. Yes? You gonna pass that joint, or keep hogging it? Lucille chuckled and handed the joint to William, her not-so-secret boyfriend and former middle school principal, who, once upon a time, had disciplined her granddaughters. They'd first met while she was picking up the girls from school, back when William had seemed uptight and strictly professional. That changed the day Aaron joked that Mr. Delahunt had asked if their grandfather would be picking them up next time. Lucille had laughed then. She certainly didn't feel old. And William, she soon discovered, wasn't stiff at all, at least not outside of work. He was a graceful dancer, a witty conversationalist, and to her pleasant surprise, an exceptional lover. Maybe even better than her late husband, but who was counting? Sorry, she said with a sly smile, letting her hand linger on William's lap as she passed the joint. I took 100 milligrams earlier, he said with a long exhale, blowing smoke her way with a wink. Lucille grabbed the lube from the nightstand and held it up. Well, let's put it to good use. William laughed and climbed on top of her. Catherine glanced out the car window at the strip mall. Aaron was driving, with Shelley in the back seat. Neither daughter had told her where they were going. Subs? She asked, spotting a sandwich shop. She squirmed a bit. 3 days after the wax and her underwear still felt strange. Oddly erotic. Nope, Aaron replied, pointing past the deli. Tattoos, Catherine blinked. You're getting tattoos? No, you are, Aaron said. What? Shh, Aaron hushed her. You lost your say a while ago, Shelley smirked as they walked inside. It looks sketchy, Catherine whispered. The best artists work in the worst-looking places, Shelley said. A heavily tattooed woman named Anne greeted them. Aaron handed her a note. Anne read it, nodded once, and led them toward the back. Pants off? Catherine asked, stunned. We know exactly where this tattoo's going, Aaron replied. Relax. Anne's the best. Lying on yet another table, Catherine was hit with flashbacks she wished she could forget. Anne cleaned the area, and she flinched as the cool liquid touched her skin. Hold still, Anne warned. No erasing tattoos. Catherine glanced at her daughters. Their faces were a mixture of determination and anticipation. She lay back, resigned. The tattoo tool buzzed to life. It hurt, of course, but the vibration and the pressure of Anne's hand resting there triggered something else, something she hadn't felt in a long time. A sudden rush, a shock. It hit her without warning, a sudden wave of sensation that left her breathless. She tried to disguise it as a strained moan, but Anne wasn't fooled for a second. It happens, the tattoo artist said matter-of-factly after finishing. She handed Catherine a mirror. One glance, and the tears came. The girls had told her to wait a few days until the swelling went down before showing David. She timed it carefully. He had just come upstairs from breakfast. Catherine stepped out of the guest bathroom, dripping wet, without clothes, clutching only a towel. David entered the hallway, distracted, but when he looked up, he froze. His eyes moved down her body, stomach, thighs, and then landed on the tattoo. His expression twisted. A gasp escaped him. He turned on his heel and bolted, slamming the door as he left. Hi, da! Shelley stopped, watching her father sprint out the front door like it was on fire. She frowned, then turned back to her granola. Probably late for work. Then her mother came flying down the stairs, without clothes. Where is he? Catherine cried, heading for the door. Shelley stepped in front of her. What the heck? He saw me! Shelley looked out the window. David's truck was disappearing down the street. You're sure? Yes, Catherine replied, dropping her towel. Did he see the tattoo? Absolutely. That's why he ran. Shelley blinked. What the actual screw? You've got to be kidding me, Aaron muttered. What now? Lucille asked, placing a lid on a pot. Dad saw Mom's tattoo, freaked out, and tore out of the house. Shelley says he's not answering calls and the GPS tracker's not working. Put her on speaker. So he saw everything. Shelley's voice came through the phone. Didn't say a word, just bolted. Looked completely furious. That's bizarre, Lucille said. I know. We need to find him, Lucille ordered. Call the boys. The search began. Everyone checked David's usual haunts. He wasn't at the sports bar, not by the river, not at the baseball field. Lucille visited the shop. His crew hadn't seen him. She turned to leave, then stopped. A thought occurred. She turned back and asked the office manager, Where's truck 1 right now? Lucille found David parked on a quiet residential street in Truck 1, his first work truck. She climbed into the passenger seat. The old vehicle creaked under her. "How'd you find me?" he asked, staring straight ahead. She tapped the GPS device on the dash. He let out a bitter laugh. "It's over, Lucille. I'm not going back." "What happened?" "She was in my shower, without clothes." His voice cracked. "She shaved. And she had his name tattooed, right there." He gestured vaguely toward his lap. Lucille said nothing. Typical male ego, she thought. Poor man really did need glasses, but now wasn't the time for that. "I'm done," David said. "I'm not living in that house again." "What about the twins?" "They'll be fine. I can't stay somewhere I'm disrespected. Do you think they knew?" Lucille shook her head. Of course they knew. But things had officially gone off script. "What now?" she asked. He turned the key. The old truck roared to life. "Storm's coming, big one. We'll be buried in work. I need to get ready." Lucille stepped down as David shifted into drive. As soon as the truck turned the corner, she pulled out her phone. "I found him," she said into the receiver. Relief echoed from the other end. "He's heading back to the shop. He's shaken. Meet at the house. We need a new plan." Rain began to fall as Lucille rushed inside. Aaron and Shelley paced the kitchen in tight loops. Tommy rummaged through the fridge like nothing was happening. Noah lounged on the couch, game controller in hand. "Where's your mom?" Lucille asked. "I thought she was upstairs," Aaron said. "Oh God," Shelley muttered. "Her car's gone." Tommy glanced up. "Maybe she went out for snacks?" David sat upstairs, pretending to study weather maps and storm forecasts. It was easier than confronting the chaos of his life. Then he heard heavy footsteps, fast, furious, charging up the stairs. Catherine burst into the room without clothes. No shoes, no hesitation. She marched toward him and thrust her pelvis forward as if daring him to look. David recoiled, disgusted, furious. He knew what was there, the name of the man she had betrayed him with, etched into her skin. But something gave him pause. He remembered their last encounter, on the couch. Back then, she hadn't shaved. Before he could piece it together, she was shouting, "You bastard! Look at it, David!" He wanted to scream back, to unleash years of hurt, but her voice overpowered his thoughts. "What does it say? What does it say?" He was seconds away from shouting the name he thought he saw, that stubborn D. But then he looked, really looked. He froze. The tattoo didn't say Donald. It said David, in flowing, elegant script. "That's right," Catherine said, her voice trembling. "It's your name. It's always been you, always will be, but I guess I'll have to find another man named David." And with that, she turned and fled, down the stairs, out the door, away from the wreckage they had both helped build. Aaron and Shelley stood outside the master bathroom door, tense and silent. When their grandmother discovered them there, they quickly motioned for her to be quiet. She crept closer, and together they listened to the muffled, erratic sounds of their father talking to himself, sometimes shouting, sometimes mumbling. It was unsettling. "He got home like 10 minutes ago," Shelley whispered. "Ran to their bedroom, locked the door, and completely lost it. He's been yelling, cursing. I think he even punched the wall." Before they could decide what to do, a loud crash echoed from the back of the house. The wind slammed the door open, letting rain whip through, and the unmistakable sound of wet, bare feet on tile followed. They raced downstairs. Their mother stood in the kitchen, dripping with rain, pacing nervously, without clothes and visibly shaken. Tommy and Noah stared at her in stunned silence until the girls appeared and the boys quickly looked away, pretending to study the ceiling. "I messed up," their mother said, eyes wide. "I yelled at him. He left." "Actually," Aaron said evenly, "he's upstairs, falling apart." Their mother brightened slightly and turned to rush upstairs, but Aaron and Shelley blocked her. "Gran," Shelley said calmly, "can you take the boys to the basement and put something harmless on, like Disney or something?" The boys groaned but didn't argue. Shelley's tone meant business. Another crash from upstairs made their mother jump. She tried again to get past them, but Aaron held her back gently. "Mom, we know what you're trying to do," Aaron said firmly. "And we told you, if you want another chance, you do it on our terms." Their mother blinked in confusion, but then nodded slowly. "Okay, whatever you want." "Rule 1, Shelley said, stepping up. "You take care of yourself, no exceptions. Keep it up for a year." "Fine." 2, Aaron added. "The tattoo stays, no hiding it. If Dad walks away, that's something the next person will just have to see. Their mother opened her mouth but stopped when she saw the looks on their faces. 3, Aaron said, voice cold. Dad gets 15 passes. What? Their mother gasped. You heard us, Aaron said. 15. However he wants to use them, it's only fair. But don't, Aaron snapped. Shelley, would you ever name a daughter after her? Never, Shelley said. I don't have a mother. The weight of the moment broke something in their mother. She lowered her shoulders. Fine, she muttered. 15. God. Better, Aaron said, handing her a small bottle. Their mother stared at it. What's this? Something to help you, Aaron replied. You'll need it. Offer something new. Shelley sighed. We are definitely going to need therapy after this. Their mother tried to explain, but Aaron cut her off. Exactly, she said. That's why it matters now. Shelley passed her a small object and quietly explained how it worked. Their mother looked uncertain but accepted it. As she started up the stairs, Aaron handed her a small screwdriver. For the lock, she said. Insert and twist. It'll click. They listened in silence. A scrape, hinges, the door closed, then nothing. It's really quiet, Aaron said. She's hurting, Shelley replied. Good, Aaron said flatly. She got off easy. For now. There was a long pause. Hey, Shelley asked, her voice soft. You ever? Not yet, I looked it up. Too much mess. You? Nope. Another pause. Aaron? Yeah? You think anyone's ever hated you? Aaron grinned faintly. No one who'd admit it. David paced the room, a storm raging outside and within. His chest ached with fury and grief, the betrayal of the woman he loved gnawing at every part of him. He told himself he'd never forgive her, that she was no longer part of his life. Then the bedroom door creaked open. She stood there, drenched from the rain, vulnerable and silent. Her eyes didn't meet his. She carried something in her hands, but it wasn't the objects that mattered. It was her presence. Trembling, she stepped inside, walked past him, and climbed slowly onto the bed. Her body shook, whether from cold or fear, he couldn't tell. She knelt, as if surrendering. No words, just a silent offering, a desperate plea to be seen, forgiven, reclaimed. David watched, frozen. The woman who had broken his heart was now showing him a version of herself he had never seen before, fragile, exposed, and willing to bear the weight of her mistakes in the most vulnerable way possible. His emotions, raw and conflicted, surged in a tangle of love, rage, and longing. He stepped forward. Kat's heart pounded in her chest. The silence between them was heavy, but she didn't move. She stayed still, enduring the weight of his gaze, waiting for him to speak, or scream, or walk away. But instead, he reached for her. His touch was neither gentle nor cruel, just full of everything they had both buried for too long. When their bodies met, it wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't closure. It was something in between, a storm of pain and passion colliding in a moment they both knew couldn't fix what had been broken, but might still keep them from falling apart completely. Upstairs, the wind howled. Thunder rolled. Down the hall, Aaron and Shelley stood frozen on the stairs, hearing what they shouldn't, caught in a mix of confusion, horror, and disbelief. Aaron whispered, "This is so messed up." Back in the room, David held her tightly, his anger slowly replaced by exhaustion. The storm that had raged between them began to quiet. Not gone, but hushed for now. Kat didn't sleep, not really. But when she opened her eyes, the light outside had changed. The storm was over. David lay on top of her, arms wrapped tight, as if holding on to something he thought he'd already lost. And she held him back, hoping, just maybe, that this could be the beginning of something new. Noah lingered just inside the kitchen doorway, fidgeting with his hands, an edge of unease on his face. "When did school let out?" Shelley asked from across the room. "Last week," he replied. "Took a few days to pack up and fly back. Any plans for the summer?" "Internship," he said with a shrug, clearly less than thrilled. "I'm back working for Dad," Shelley offered, pulling 2 sodas from the fridge. She handed him one. "Real work?" he asked, cracking his can open. She nodded. "We're adults now. Chainsaws and trucks don't scare us anymore." Noah took a sip, then looked around. "How's your dad? How are they?" Shelley nodded toward the wall. Hanging there on a string was a small brass key. Noah walked over, touched it, then turned to her curiously. "It opens a safe deposit box," she explained. Inside are their divorce papers, their wedding rings, mom's engagement ring, and 15 hall passes. He blinked. Wait, what? 15 index cards signed by mom, each one is a free pass. One for every time she, well, you know. Noah stared at the key, visibly unsettled. Do you think he'll ever use one? I doubt it, Shelley said. But that's not really the point. It's about knowing they're there. And she sees that key every single day. He nodded thoughtfully. That goes both ways. You're thinking like a daughter. But think about it from his side. One day something triggers it. Her lover's name, a casual glance, a place they used to go, and suddenly it all comes rushing back. The pain's fresh again. It hits like a punch to the gut. Shelley didn't reply. Noah had a way of saying things that struck too close to the truth. But in those moments, he continued, he remembers the cards. One key, one pass. Maybe he never uses them, but just knowing he could, that might be enough. Enough to help him stay. To remind him they're choosing each other now, not trapped in something they can't escape. Shelley slid her arm around his shoulder. You seeing anyone this summer? She asked. He smirked. Are you? She nearly answered with a lie, something vague about dating casually, but her eyes drifted to the key on the wall. She paused, reconsidered. No, she said honestly, and wrapped both arms around him. He kissed her, hungry, intense, with a fire that caught her breath. He lifted her onto the counter, his hands finding familiar places. She laughed between gasps. You know, statistically, high school relationships rarely last. I'm not studying statistics, he growled, and kissed her again, exactly the way she loved. Sunlight spilled across the bed, and the clock read 10:12 a.m. William was curled up beside Lucille, his body still pressed to hers. His softening body left a cool trail across her thigh, and she smiled to herself. Summer break had its benefits. Principals could sleep in after passionate mornings. What they'd shared wasn't slow or delicate. It had been intense, almost rough, and still lingered on her skin. She considered finishing what they'd started, just a little more, but chose to savor the quiet afterglow instead. She wanted to wait, maybe until he woke again or until she had the nerve to take what she wanted next. Her shiver caught his attention. Without opening his eyes, his hand drifted over her bosom, squeezing gently. Saw Kat at the grocery store yesterday, he murmured. I think she knows. She knows everything, Lucille said, grinning. He squeezed harder, drawing a soft yelp. Everything? He teased. She laughed. Almost. She looked happy, he said. Lucille exhaled. She and David are working through things. It's not simple. Too many ghosts? Far too many. He pulled her closer and kissed her neck, drawing a soft moan from her. He always knew exactly where to touch, and then she felt him stiffening again. Lucille, he whispered. Marry me. Her breath caught. Tears welled up immediately. He had never seen her cry before. He tried to turn her toward him, to see her face, but she stopped him. No. His voice broke slightly. You won't marry me. No, she said again, sobbing now. Don't look at me. Yes, I will. I'll marry you. He pulled her tight into his arms as she wept. Tears for her late husband, for the reckless young woman she once was, for her fierce, complicated granddaughters, and for everyone who had loved, lost, and dared to love again. And he held her through it all, arms firm around her, refusing to let go.